Well, one statement, speaking of the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, and the kind of leadership that he has shown over the last 10 years, and we are, of course, going into the elections now, is not an era of war. He said that at the SCO, he said that at the G20, and that was reflected in the consensus statement in New Delhi as well. I wouldn't ask you how difficult these 2 years have been, amidst these wars between Russia and Ukraine, and now for the last 5 months between Israel and Hamas, and the position that India has taken, the independent position of self-interest, and the kind of statements that we have heard from Europe, and the kind of mirror that you have shown to the world. How important is this self-interest, not compromising, just like you said at the Munich Security Conference, that India is being smart about having multiple options?
Well, look, of course, a lot of it is about self-interest, and I see nothing wrong with self-interest. All of you have self-interest you pursue every day. But at times, it's also bigger than self-interest. Say what I was speaking about Global South was bigger. We are not a country which is deeply indebted, but we do believe countries who are something should be done for them. In the case of these issues, look, eventually the stand we took looked very natural, But you do go through that process of, okay, something has happened, what do we say, who do we talk to, what are the pressures, the counter pressures, the arguments. And then somewhere something gels, in all of this. I think in the case of Ukraine, a lot of it, we were, at that time, the Security Council, okay? So the first, I was still actually on the flight back from France. I'd been meeting Macron the previous evening. When on the plane, I saw the news that the Russians had moved in. And that Security Council meeting was actually literally happening when I was on the plane. So I could only send text messages and at least you could do that from a plane nowadays. That's a help. But from what initially became like, a political, I would say, a formulation, what is the messaging you are doing, once you moved fairly quickly into the sanctioning stage, Europe deciding that it was going to take some counteraction, then it actually became a different set of issues arose. And those issues had implications for our national growth, for our development, for the average citizen of India, And at that stage, that's when you actually look at your interest, you look at what others are saying, you look at, frankly, how consistent it was. And part of our problem was that, the expectations of us here were countries who are now redirecting. They were reducing the Russia supplies. They were coming into the Middle East. They were essentially coming into markets which would have then got impacted because that's where we were buying from, who were graduating out of it, who were managing it for themselves, but were not giving you that same space. Their expectations of you was more than the demands of themselves. And that we felt was deeply unfair and needed to be, challenged in a way.